Breaking up may be not so hard to do for two of Indiana's biggest universities. Saying goodbye to IUPUI and hello to a new vision for higher education in downtown Indianapolis. Leaders from both schools weigh in on the economic ripple effect of splitting into two new campuses. Plus, down on the farm in Seymour, where producing fresh eggs is the name of the game, what it means for new jobs in Jackson County. And a major step forward for a Hoosier-based startup playing a big role in changing a key part of women's personal health care. It's all next on Inside Indiana Business.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and LIUNA.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick. Historic transformational change. The dawn of a new era for higher education in central Indiana. IU Purdue, no longer the 55-year partnership between IU and Purdue ending as the two institutions break into a standalone campus, each standalone campus. Indiana University, Indianapolis, and Purdue University in Indianapolis. It's a huge economic growth opportunity for the state of Indiana and the two schools. And the presidents of both universities join us on this week's show to talk about that, beginning with IU President Pam Whitten.
That looks like a university that is embedded in an incredible urban area, which is Indianapolis, and we all know how fantastic the city of Indianapolis is. And that means that you have a fantastic triangulation of students that come from far and wide, local certainly to the city, the state, beyond, international, that come to study and work. It means you have faculty that are doing work and discovery that changes lives not only in Indiana and beyond. But it also means in the triangle that I'm referring to that you have partnerships with your community and you're embedding all of that work, the wonderful students with your business and with your industry and with your nonprofits and with your faculty, and then the faculty the same thing. And so that's what a great urban research university is.
Talk about that connection between IU Indianapolis and the business community that's literally in your backyard now, and what potential that offers.
Well, the potential is already becoming reality, right? And so from day one, we recognize that there's been a lot of great work that's gone on a long time. This campus has a great history. But there's so much more we can do to both propel opportunities to train and create the workforce for this city, as well as help industry with better practices, et cetera. And so we've got things in play. We have already launched a co-op program with Lilly, right? It's a wonderful partnership with a wonderful company as well. And so there are a number of those types of direct actions and partnerships that are already taking place with industry.
You talk about viewing this as an engine for economic development in Part 2, talent, such a huge issue. How do you see the new IU Indianapolis connecting with economic development and the state's efforts to grow the economy?
We are working directly with IEDC and others in the state to identify not only the workforce needs of today, but recognizing that in 20 years from now that will be evolving, and how do we stay ahead of that curve. And so we're working with IEDC, as I referenced, as well as a number of other partners. 16 Tech's a great partner. I mean, so many wonderful folks that are collaborating with us to identify not only degrees, but experiences for students and opportunities for getting the right students here as well. In the past, 90% of a student who gets a degree here in Indianapolis stays in the state of Indiana. And so we recognize that, and we know the talent pool of students is broader than we have capitalized on in the past. And so this year we announced an arrangement with Indianapolis Public Schools of automatic admission for their students that score a 3-point, graduate with a 3-point in high school. And we think that's a large force of really, really talented young people that will be proud to come study at IU Indianapolis.
I want to ask you as we wrap up about the physical nature of the campus. There will be new buildings, among them ultimately a new arena, right?
New arena.
New arena.
That's
so
right.
what will that add to the campus and kind of the vibe that will be on the campus?
You're right. So in addition to the new building related to the Sci-Tech corridor and the new institutes and emerging biotech and Institute of Health, et cetera, on the other side of it, we're a full-blown university campus, and we want to be the place where our students and others have amazing experiences. And so we were very fortunate that the state also viewed this as an important investment. We just announced last week, 2 weeks ago, that our trustees approved a $110 million arena, most of which will be funded by the state if it's approved by the state in the coming weeks. The rest will be supporting. It will be the place where our sports teams play. It will be the place where we hold new orientations for thousands of students. It will be the place where conferences and conventions will happen. But also importantly to us, it will be the place that the whole city and state views as their resource as well. So we're looking for other conferences and amateur sports and others to come in and be using this space, because we're proud of this campus and we want everybody possible to come onto this campus.
Some interesting nuggets now about IUPUI. Its roots trace back to, get this, 1891, before automobiles hit the streets. It was then that IU offered classes for the very first time, nursing a major part of the curriculum. IU and Purdue merged to create Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis in 1969, fulfilling then Mayor Richard Lugar's vision of creating a great state university in Indianapolis. It wasn't long before the campus began growing, an engineering school, IU Hospital, new student campus center, all part of the transformation over the past 55 years. Well, coming up next, we get Purdue University President Mung Chiang's vision on the potential impact of Purdue's expertise in engineering, business, and innovation, and why it could be a huge economic driver for the region.
The late Ruth Lilly, heiress to the Lilly family fortune and one of two recognizable figures to attend the Herron School of Art and Design. The other, world-renowned sculptor Don Gummer, a Ben Davis High and Herron alum who was once married to actress Meryl Streep.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Digging deeper now into an expanded Eye on Education this week, we continue our look at the historic split from IUPUI to Indiana University, Indianapolis, and Purdue University in Indianapolis. I talked this week with Purdue President Mung Chiang about a vision that extends well beyond the school's Indy campus boundaries.
Well, Gary, isn't this beautiful here? Gold and black for the first time officially in our capital city. The Boilermakers cannot be prouder today. We say happy birthday, but also this is a day about Indianapolis and about Central Indiana, about creating jobs and workforce and innovation for our beloved city and all the neighbors.
As you look at this, you've mentioned it before, that this is not a regional campus. This is an extension, literally, of the West Lafayette campus.
Exactly. This is not Purdue in Indianapolis as a regional. No. This is part of Purdue, West Lafayette. Think of this as the southern tip of the entire corridor. And this is Purdue University itself, the main campus, expanding to serve the city of Indianapolis.
As you look at it, how would you describe Purdue in Indianapolis? What it's going to be like, the offerings?
Well, it's just like the solar eclipse. It's totality of Purdue to the totality of Indianapolis. In the coming years, you're going to see Boilermakers from all departments and colleges coming here to study, to live, and to create. And it's going to be throughout the city of Indianapolis, including 7 locations we're starting with on this birthday, and many more locations to come throughout the entire city, the totality of Purdue for the totality of Indy.
Talk about that, because I think that's an interesting element of this. Obviously a presence here on the traditional campus, but you're going to be throughout.
Oh, absolutely. There's the One Health Innovation District with Elanco. There's the Dallara partnership outside of the Speedway. There's this location, the 28 acres while building new buildings. There's the existing 5 buildings as well. And then there is 16 Tech, and then there's High Alpha, plus Eskenazi Hospital. So 7 locations and many more to come.
That is a connection, literally, I think, to the business community, correct?
Yes. It's going to be not just about engineering and technology, but also about the Daniel School of Business, about HTM, about nursing and pharmacy and health-related disciplines. It's going to be the entire Purdue's full power coming to serve all the Hoosiers in Indianapolis.
You talk a lot about, or have talked a lot about, a hard tech corridor stretching from Indianapolis through Lebanon up to West Lafayette. Yes. How do you envision that taking shape? I think it's already taking shape.
Well, look at the Eli Lilly announcement recently. Indeed, this corridor is all about creating jobs and workforce together. And with innovation, it's going to be about bringing economic growth and as an engine to take this state to the next level.
What, in your view, from the standpoint of economic development, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, looking at this new setup with IU Indianapolis, Purdue, and Indianapolis, what does that offer?
It's all about a partnership. It's all about a partnership with the business and the civic communities. Purdue University is now in Indianapolis because of the business community. We answered their call. We are here where we are today. We have arrived finally because of their help. And we're going to take the giant leaps together with the business community in Indianapolis.
A lot of talk about science, technology, engineering, and math jobs, those kinds of jobs that are needed here. Yes. As you look at the Purdue enrollment numbers here, will those increase as part of that?
Oh, absolutely. Undergrad level, graduate level, education level, and hybrid learning, the sky's the limit.
Indeed, many in the business community are lining up in support of the new IU and Purdue in Indianapolis, including Elanco CEO Jeff Simmons. Elanco is in the midst of building a multi-million-dollar corporate campus along the White River in downtown Indianapolis on a portion of the old GM stamping plant site. Elanco and Purdue and Indianapolis partnering to develop a new shared-use facility on 3 acres of the new One Health Innovation District near the Elanco headquarters. And Simmons tells me having 2 world-class universities downtown will pay huge dividends.
It comes back to a few things that always are the forces for economic growth, career growth, community growth is innovation. And I think universities, to me, through the business lens, it's going to drive not just bringing students and professors, but they're going to bring in a level of energy, diversity, and ideas that create an ecosystem that drive innovation. And we've got a couple specific examples, even with the Elanco here, was we've created a One Health Innovation District with Purdue University, where we're going to see it up close, Gerry. So I think it's really going to be significant.
By the way, Elanco's new corporate headquarters is expected to be complete in the second quarter of next year. Baltimore higher education changes at Indiana State University, where Dr. Mike Goddard is now a month into his new role as ISU's 13th president. On this week's Business and Beyond podcast, Goddard says one of his top priorities, strengthening the university's connection to the city of Terre Haute.
Those connections with our business and industry are certainly going to impact our students. But when we talk about retaining our students in the community to provide that workforce needs, to meet those demands, and to provide that economic stimulus that we want to be able to do for the health and well-being of everyone that we serve.
Much more with Indiana State President Mike Goddard on the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC at InsideIndianaBusiness.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up next, down on the farm in southern Indiana, details on why a unique and fast-growing Texas-based egg-producing operation has its eye on Seymour for growth. That and other business headlines making news around Indiana.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Well, we are on the water, on the farm, and in the kitchen this week for business news around Indiana. Here's Mary Rachel Ripp.
Well, Gary, we begin in Northwest Indiana, where after nearly 6 years of planning, the deal to build a $600 million waste-to-fuel plant in Gary is officially off the table. City leaders say the Fulcrum Bioenergy project is dead because Fulcrum failed to close on the property. Plans for the facility were first announced in 2018 with the promise of 130 jobs. To southwest Indiana, along the banks of the Ohio River, where there's a move to grow the state's largest port. A new deal in place with Indiana officials and Denver-based Omnitrax to provide rail operations at the ports of Indiana Mount Vernon, which is near Evansville. The port mainly handles coal, ethanol, and farm products. Speaking of down on the farm,
what I've got here is feeding thousands of people. You know, I'm over 3 million eggs right now that I produced, and I'm like, what, just in total awe.
Texas-based Vital Farms expanding its operations in southern Indiana. The company, which produces pasture-raised egg and butter products, planning to build an egg washing and packaging facility in Seymour, which is expected to create more than 150 jobs. Ball State getting a big boost from the family it's named after. The Muncie-based Ball Brothers Foundation awarding $2.5 million to help build the university's new Performing Arts Center. The $60 million project, part of Ball State's plan to revitalize the Village District just off campus. And Indiana at the center for a couple of firsts for Chicago-based Protein Bar and Kitchen. The company planning its first ever multi-franchise unit and first drive-through location in Crown Point. A second location expected to also open in Munster. And
there was only one night game a year. On the 4th of July, the whole sky would brighten up with fireworks, giving us just enough light for a game. We played our best then, because I guess we all felt like the big leaguers under the lights of some great stadium.
One of my all-time favorite movies growing up, the 1993 coming-of-age cult classic, Sandlot. And to celebrate the 30-year anniversary of the movie, you can relive it, the 90s film, with the original Sandlot cast this summer in downtown Lafayette at the historic Mars Theater, August 10th. Tickets available now and are first come, first serve. That is very exciting.
Yeah.
Extremely cool that they're coming to Indiana.
Yeah, going to be a special night. I know it's going to attract a lot of people to Lafayette.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Mary Rachel. Great look around Indiana. And for a holiday a week, lots of business growth and investment news around Indiana, as Mary Rachel mentioned. When we come back, we get caught up on the business of health in Indiana, including a major step forward for a Hoosier-based startup playing a big role in women's personal health care. It is time now to get caught up with the business of health and those big stories making headlines around the state. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta here now with more. Kylie.
Thank you, Gary. Stevanato Group's new $500 million production facility is up and running in Fishers, and the company is now taking its commitment to locals one step further. The Italy-based company has pledged to pay all of its Fishers employees at least $70,000 annually. Stevanato makes glass vials and syringes for pharmaceuticals and has been on the leading edge of the life sciences business boom in Fishers. The city has attracted around $750 million of investment in about 2 years. Stevanato says committing to pay at least $70,000 annually keeps salaries competitive in Fishers, where the cost of living is 26% higher than the Indiana average.
You look at Fishers every day, there is an announcement of someone else going in, right? And so even based on my experience starting 2 years ago and looking at how it progressed, you see the cost of living going up, right? Probably faster than in other the average, I would say, right? And so you need to make sure that you are at the top. Again, as I said earlier, because we are competing with big names.
Stevanato says being transparent about salaries also helps attract talent from other states. Well, we first told you about period care startup Sunny a couple years ago, and its 2 female founders, one a Fishers High School and IU grad, have been making big strides ever since. Just last week, Sunny announced it received FDA clearance for the Sunny Cup Plus applicator. The company says it's the first menstrual cup applicator on the market that inserts like a tampon. Sunny launched in Indy and got its big break when the co-founder's TikTok video went viral. The company says having FDA clearance also means it can create new sizes and colors. And another startup we featured seeing success. We first told you about Indianapolis-based Compact Medical last year. The startup's Butterfly BVM device recently won Top Tech Innovation of the Year at TechPoint's Mira Awards. The device modernizes the traditional one-size-fits-all bag valve mask, or BVM. 2 dials allow the user to select a patient size ranging from infant to adult and keep air pressure in a safe zone.
Lots of great stories there, Kylie. Back to Stevanato Group.
Right.
Really interesting, $70,000. That's getting the headlines, but that's you're telling me that's kind of part of the story.
Right. He says, of course, that's what everyone's interested in, but that's just a piece of it. They are really focused on talent. They know that there are a lot of new companies in Fishers competing for the same talent. So they want to make it a really special environment there. He told me about a really nice cafeteria they have at Stevanato. It serves really high quality food and it's open concept. And so he likes all the employees to come together, eat together. And he's like, this is not normal cafeteria food. So they're really focusing on that whole employee picture, not just the salary.
I know it's a major investment they've made there and part of a bigger life sciences picture in Fishers that Mayor Scott Fadness told me they didn't really expect, but it's just kind of begun to blossom.
Right. I was just reading his op-ed. He wrote a great one about that, just about how actually a company saw more potential in Fishers and that kind of just snowballed. And now they've just had major investment there.
All right, Kylie, as always, thanks.
Yep.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Inside Indiana Business. We leave you this week with images and sounds from around the state as Hoosiers celebrate the 4th of July. I'm Gerry Dick. Go out and make it a great week.